Hey adventurers, so today's going to be another book review. This is going to be for Desperate Dispatches by Mike Mollman. This is the fourth book in the Protectors of Pretanni series. So this is epic fantasy, kind of epic fantasy in a lot of ways. It's not really high fantasy, but it is pretty epic. Heroic fantasy, absolutely. Druidic fantasy, it's about druids, like that's the whole point of this series is the druids, not really, but there's a lot of druid aspects and elements to this story for sure. Desperate Dispatches, as I just mentioned, is the fourth book in the Protectors of Pretanni series by Mike Mollman. This book is split into 4 novellas that are used to further the world and the overarching storyline of the whole series. So the way that Mollman, and I don't think I get into this elsewhere, but possibly, but whatever the case, the way that Mollman chooses to write this series is he does one book that follows the main storyline, and then the next book is short stories that help flesh out and fill in the world and fill in the holes of the things that are happening off screen from the main timeline, from the main storyline, but are still important to the overarching storyline of the entire series. So we get different perspectives, we get different characters and stuff like that, and just help us to fill out the world quite a bit. Before I get into the rest of this review, I'd just quickly like to say welcome to an Erudite adventure. I'm T. If you're liking what you're seeing from us, please like, comment, and subscribe. So this series has just been so much fun for me, and book 4 really is no different. It's just been a great addition to the series for many reasons. We get some very specific stories told, as I was mentioning. We get the short stories that are they're very specific in what they're trying to accomplish. We get some very specific stories told with each of the 4 novellas or short stories following a different character. So each of the 4 stories follows a different character. But we also get to explore so much more of the world, which is something that I really enjoy doing, in the way that Mollman chooses to populate this world is very, very fun for me. Of course, it is a fantasy version of Earth, so it's really just exploring Earth, but that is wonderful in and of itself, exploring a magical version of Earth and looking at it through the lens of the world that is being created in this series. So Glasna's story, which is I believe the first story of the book, is one that I really should like the least. I'm not much of a fan of any sort of like demon summoning stuff like that, but since that's not what this story here is about, that's part of the world, but it's not what this story is actually about. But it's rather more of a prison break story. I actually ended up enjoying it quite a bit, and that was fun for me to see that, even with a topic with an idea that I generally don't care for, and I've talked about it before, I think I have anyways, but generally my reasons for not loving the demonic stuff is because there is a reality to that, and I don't want to participate in that at all. And so it's kind of, oftentimes I see it in these sorts of things, and I just move away from it because I don't like it. I don't want to see it. But the way that the story is told here, I ended up enjoying it because of what the story is, not for what it contains. And that's generally often the way that I try to approach stories. The way that they handle certain topics, I tend to shy away from a little bit more than others. Krissa has a fascinating story as well. It takes us to a brand new location and introduces us to a new race and culture, which is very fun for me. I love exploring cultures in fantasy world. Well, I love exploring cultures anywhere, but especially in fantasy, and the way that we look at the inspirations for those cultures and all that kind of stuff. It's fun for me to explore them, and cultures, languages. It's something that I have a love for, and so anytime we get to explore more of that, I enjoy that aspect as well. But also just getting to explore the new locations is something super fun for me. And anytime we get to see massive dragons is also a huge plus. Blackstenius' story is one that we've been following in the background of each of the previous books whenever we run across him. So it's nice to get some dedicated time for him in this book. That does not mean that it's a terribly pleasant journey, but somehow Mollman does this thing where he makes you enjoy reading about these unpleasant journeys that his characters go on, and it's fun to see the way that, it's fun, but it's also cool and interesting the way that Mollman is able to take these characters, take these pieces of the story and weave them into a story that is a little bit dark, a little bit disturbing, a little bit hard to read at times, but is still super fun and super enjoyable just to read that, and he does a great job at it, and I really enjoy that as well. Arthmael is a particularly interesting story as it opens up new concepts that haven't yet been explored, And again, it takes us on a pretty crazy ride. We also get to explore some new, again, somewhat of new cultures, but new areas for sure. And we get to meet some very interesting personalities in Arthmael's story. And so that part is all fun as well. And it's just, this one kind of is just wild in a lot of ways, and I enjoyed it a lot, but it's also just kind of wild. And I think while I really liked Chrissa, I really liked Chrissa's story, and I really liked Blackstenius' story in this book. But I think there's some really interesting, wild, fun stuff going on in Arthmael's as well. And of course, as I already mentioned, Glasna's story. But even though I enjoyed the prison break aspect of it, the summoning side is still there, and that's why that portion gets taken down just a little bit, even though the story itself is fun. I have yet to find a way to articulate exactly why these books work for me as well as they do. Part of it is the humor, absolutely. Part of it is the storytelling, part of it is the characters, but none of that just completely accurately describes it all. There's a charm to these books that is just so easy for me to embrace, even in its occasional or even often discomforting moments. There's some stuff in here that is not fun to read. Not like it's not full of adult content or anything like that. He actually keeps the books fairly clean. There's just a little bit more than some of the other books that I read, but for the most part he keeps it pretty clean, but you still get into some uncomfortable situations at time. And even with that though, there's, what did I say here? There's a charm to these books, and that's one of the best ways that I have found to describe my reason for enjoying these books as much as I do. Yet even with all of that, Mollman forces you to come away enjoying the book. And somehow there's a battle turkey that makes sense in the story, and okay, sure, I'll take it. It's fun. It's random, it's wild, but I'll take it. And they just work for me. It's things like that that are completely unexpected, and they just end up working really well. And that's, to me, that's good enough. The story that's being told with this is a good story, and I enjoy that and I appreciate that. But it's just, there's so much fun that you have with this, so much charm to this series, that even if maybe it's not perfect in every single way, I still end up having this series as one of my favorite series, one of my favorite fantasy series. And that's an incredible achievement. In my opinion, that's an incredible achievement for any author, because I like books and I try to read as many as I can. And so the fact that the series is on my favorites, a favorites list of mine, doesn't matter what favorite list it is, that to me, that's pretty incredible. So anyways, that is my review of Desperate Dispatches, book 4 of the Protectors of Pretanni series by Mike Mollman. Thank you guys for watching an Erudite adventure. We post videos every Monday and Thursday, and our social media is linked in the description down below. We will see you guys again soon. Stay warm.